So I just wanted to put this here at the beginning. This video went on way too goddamn long, okay? I rambled and talked way too long about this character, but I love this character. I think she's fantastic. I think she's the best character in the game. Not the best at any one thing, but she's absolutely incredible at everything. So if you like her style and you want to get her, I say go for it. I just want to let you know at the base she is a little clunky. She relies on literally just hitting her Q and E. It doesn't really do anything with her melee or ranged weapon at all. And yeah, she just felt a little clunky to me. She has to be kind of close to the enemies, kind of like within that melee range. But if you love her design and you love being able to do Umbro and Lumino damage, maxing her out changes her character totally. Some characters it doesn't, but it totally changes her. Her playstyle is way easier. You can actually do range DPS now and close range. You can speed farm easier. You can fly above enemies and rain down your abilities on them. It changes her. It made her, I can actually dodge things, run around, continuously doing damage instead of just being a burst DPS. That was close range. So if that's all you needed to hear, there you go. She's cool, does a lot of damage, good AoE. At I6 she changes into range DPS, and still does the same thing she did before. So there you go. Hey guys, so today I just wanted to talk about Lady Nifle, discuss her, go over everything, let you guys know like if she's actually good, maybe help you decide if you actually want to invest in her from somebody that has put in basically all the resources you could at this point into her.
I shall offer what humble aid I can.
So I have her fully maxed out here on the introns or constellations or whatever you want to call them for this game. And let's go over her base kit first. So if you don't know what she does, she basically puts a little AoE down right in front of her. Its range is pretty like I said, like right here, it's like maybe 5 meters in front of her. And when you do it the first time, it'll be this lunar hunt. It'll be Umbro damage, and then the next time you use it, it'll be solar eclipse, which will be the lumino damage. So she's really unique character compared to everything else. She actually has 2 types of damages that she does, and I think this is the only character in the game right now that can do that. So she does Umbro and lunar, or lumino damage. Depending on which one you use, it swaps back and forth. And her multipliers are pretty high. And then yes, the first one has a larger radius compared to the second one. The second one does reduce the attack of the enemy hit. And then for her ult, it basically is just like a steroid buff for her ability. When she enters the state, she converts her skill range that's over 100 into her skill damage. Then while she's in it, she also gains extra trigger probability for her ranged weapons. And then now her E ability, or her main ability, no longer costs any sanity or mana in this game, whichever one you want to call it. When you're in this state, your Umbro version of your ability will actually pull enemies in, group them up for you. It does damage also, and then when you use it again in the Lumino version, it just does extra damage while you're in this state. You can see here it enhances it to an 8,000% multiplier currently at my level. And yeah, the range for the first Umbro damage blast, the lunar blast, is actually increased as well. Pull enemies in from a little further away. And here's the trigger probability boost for your ranged weapons. And then her passive, basically based on your ranged weapons trigger probability, will have an extra chance to spawn the E ability multiple times. So let's go ahead and go in here real quick and I can just show you that. So right now my I can show you that in a second. I think it's like 95% right now, or 90%, close to 100 trigger probability on my weapon.
Samsara's pulse.
See, it didn't proc there. So that's the regular ability, what it would be, and that's the Umbro version. Then you go again.
Night turns to day.
You see there how it procced multiple times, and that's because it has that passive. You have that chance to spawn them over and over again. It procs itself basically once. And sometimes there's like 2 or 3, 2 there, 1.
Samsara's pulse. Night turns to day.
Yeah, so sometimes you get lucky. You can get like 4 of them procced in a row. So with only spending the sanity or mana cost for one of your abilities, it can actually proc it multiple. And so when you spam this,
Samsara's pulse.
especially for helping for single target damage. Let's go ahead and see what my trigger probability is on my weapon.
I shall offer what humble aid I can.
So it goes based off of your ranged weapon. I'm using this one right now just for the increased trigger probability. It's 90%. You could get it to 100 if you wanted to, but it doesn't seem to go over 100. Someone else can let me know if it does, but on the stat sheet, when you go past 100, it just stops at 100. So if I add anything else, it's way over 100 and it seems kind of wasteful. When I can't really tell the difference between that extra 10%, especially because when you
I shall offer what
are
humble
in
aid
her
I
alt
can.
state, which I have this up pretty much all the time. When you're in your alt state, it does boost your trigger probability already. So, and then with the current mods we have for weapons, you might want to use a different weapon that doesn't have trigger probability and instead just increases, skill damage or skill range or even attack or something like that, but I haven't played around with it to test that out too much. This works really well, and it's been killing everything in the game, no problem. She's supposed to use pistols, so why not for now? And because the trigger probability is so high, I basically always fire an extra projectile on top of my multi-shot, so it just gives me more chances to proc my T6, which I'll talk about that in a second.
I shall offer what humble aid I can.
So if you have her base, you're going to want to build her way different than if you have all these. So yeah, so that's basically what it means for this. It just spawns it based on your weapon probability, and it has a cap. And then this just lets you proc bonus effects on them. Where is the... Oh, it's yeah. All right. So if you have her at base kit, she's pretty good. She's pretty decent for AoE, pretty decent for single target. I don't think she's the best at either one. It's really nice that she has the Lumino and Umbro damage. If you don't know about the elements, I don't know. Where can you see that at? Let me see if it'll pop up here. Apparently not. There's somewhere you can go and see the fucking chart.
I shall
But,
offer what humble aid I can.
If you don't know, for these elements, it would be kind of how you would assume it would go. Those 4 go in a circle, but then Lumino and Umbro go back and forth against each other. So Lumino does extra damage to Umbro, Umbro does extra damage to Lumino. So that means if you're fighting Lumino or Umbro, she's doing extra damage to them because her ability swaps back and forth between both. So, you know, basically you don't have to have an Umbro character for Lumino. You could bring her, and then she's already Lumino going against an Umbro, so she does bonus damage there. And then, so if you're building her base, she's great. I don't think she's the best at either, but she's fantastic for both, and she's just, you know, very versatile. So if you're building her base, you would want to build into, you know, skill damage. You don't really need to worry about skill range, in my opinion. At base, skill efficiency is great. Max sanity is great. You'll struggle with the efficiency and the sanity more at base. Not early on, because she just does enough damage to one-shot everything, so you're not going to worry about it. Later on, especially with single target bosses, spamming your ability on them, you're going to run out of sanity pretty quick, especially if you want to enter her alt state to get that steroid buff. It's I think it's like 100, 120 base is what the cost is, because I have no efficiency on. So 120 base is what it is, and I think she comes with 180 sanity, so it's not leaving you much after. But like I said earlier, when you're in this, it costs no sanity to use your main ability, so that's great, but it only does that for 6 uses. And later on, when those bosses get really tanky, you're going to go through those 6 pretty quick, and then you probably have very little sanity left. You get maybe a couple more casts off, and then now you're out of sanity. So if you're building your base, I think efficiency and max sanity and then skill damage is going to be your priorities, as well as obviously attack, because that's what she scales off of. And I had no problem running those on there. I'll talk about my current builds I go back and forth between. But yeah, when I was running her base, the standard attack boost, and then wings for max sanity is great for the beginning. And then if you can find anything that decreases the efficiency, that's great. I mean, increases your efficiency, that would be great. There is this one that you could use for more sanity, and then efficiency is great. You don't really need much early on. Yeah, when you get her introns, her playstyle changes a bit. Some characters in the game, when you get their bonus copies, their introns, it kind of just increases their damage, or they become better at what they're doing. Maybe they get more AoE, more damage, more healing, stuff like that. They can get different buffs to the rest of their team or their support. With her, it kind of changes her style. It does increase her effectiveness as well, but in the beginning, it increases your trigger probability, and now you have an increased max trigger probability. So it's just this is the one that will spawn itself. So now you have an increased chance of it spawning itself over and over again. This one just increases your damage back and forth. When you use the Umbro version, deals damage. Then when you use the Lumino version, you gain 75% extra damage against that same target that it hit for 3 seconds. So this is really great for things that actually survive your attacks, the bosses, and then you go back and forth just getting that extra damage between each one. This is just increases your basic damage overall. This one received and sanity recovery, which the sanity recovery is pretty good. It's nice. I don't have any problems at all now. And then the healing received, why not? Sounds fine to me. Increases your damage again, just increasing your abilities. And then this one is when her entire playstyle changes, basically. These, like, maybe if you really needed extra damage, you can go for the first 2. I don't think it's really worth going all the way to the 4th just for that extra 25% if that's where you're going to stop. I would say if you really like her and you're okay and you like her playstyle at base, you can either not get any and be totally fine, or you can go up to 2, get that damage boost and get that trigger probability boost. If you like Lady Nifle, but you feel like her playstyle was a little clunky, or you really got to be in the enemy's faces to actually do the damage, and you didn't like that, this unlocks her. Like, it just changes everything about her. So when dealing damage using a ranged weapon, there's a 25% chance to summon your ability, either one of them, the Umbra or the Lumino damage, at the target's location, and they can be triggered once every second. So when you start getting a gun that can shoot quickly and has multi-shot, and you're shooting 3-4 shots at a time, this procs a lot, and it is very strong. Probably doesn't do as much damage as you would do just going straight up and smashing your ability key, but now she can actually do damage from a distance, and it's great. It turns her into a ranged DPS or in the front. And when you go into that steroid mode, it does affect your E-spawns from your ranged weapon. It doesn't the damage of the Lumino version for a multiplier. Alright, so my recording died. Let's try that again. Yeah, I'm going to show how the C6 actually works. What the hell is that? See that? I'm not spoiling that. There we go. Alright, so yeah, procs. The 25% chance to activate your ability. What's also crazy about this is that it doesn't use your sanity. It just procs it free. So if you ever have sanity problems, now you don't have it, because if you have it, you can just continue to proc your ability and wait for your stamina to regen. So here how it works. Didn't proc there, I don't think. There you go, it did there. See? And that one proc multiple times. So it still has the chance from your passive to proc itself, even from your ranged weapon. So you can just keep shooting over and over again. And this guy's 20 levels above me, and he's very tanky, so. But I'll show you some actual gameplay against stuff that we can fight now. I'm trial rank 49, so I can't fight anything that's 55 and up yet. But we can fight all the level 45 trial rank plus stuff.
Like the mouse.
And then yeah, using your steroid does affect this. It does do increased damage. You see how that one attack did over 130,000 from the 42,000 because of that steroid buff of the 8,000% on that Lumino hit. So yeah, just being able to spam that is going to be stronger. But like I said, you only get 6 of those, and then you have to wait. And sometimes in the boss fights or wherever you're doing, you can't be that close to them. So it's fantastic. And it actually turns it into a pretty decent speed farmer. For her melee weapon, I'm just using the katana because it says that's what she's supposed to use, and it has skill range because I'm in the Q a lot, and it'll convert that straight into skill damage.
Humble aid I can.
And for skill range, you can have more skill range than the skill damage on these weapons. So technically, you get more damage when you're in her ult with a skill range weapon right now. But you can easily use skill damage, and it's like a couple thousand off damage-wise. It's not that bad. Okay, let's see. We can go ahead and I'll show a boss first, and then
I shall
I'll
offer
show
what
you her
humble
speed
aid I
farming is
can.
actually pretty good with her T6 or I6 or whatever you want to call it. So I already showed this boss, so we'll show her. These other bosses, I originally showed the Fire Girl, the Infernal Warden, because she's kind of the hardest one. She has a problem with moving around all the time, invincibility phases, all that. Most bosses have the invincibility phases, but these ones just seem like they're easier. So yeah, this is the highest I have access to right now.
Night comes to be. Samsara pulse.
So you see, I can go right back into that state of having this I have no mana problems. I don't even have to do the finisher.
Those drifting
Zero
towards the
mana
misty
problems.
sea shall find
Once
solace
you get
in
this
her embrace,
thing. Or
borne
you
upon
could
the
just
rains
spec
of
into it.
renewal, to merge with the next endless.
But having the I6 unlocked means I don't have to use any demon wedges that are for sanity at all. No efficiency, no max sanity, so you can add extra damage on her, which is why even at
I shall
level
offer what
60,
humble aid I can.
and I still don't have an extra one unlocked, and I have a blaze here because I don't have enough space for another scorch or anything else I wanted to put on here. So yeah, and I also don't have one of these little floating things, the Pokemons or whatever, that can boost me. So that's just the boss fight without, any supports, no one boosting my damage, no, the Pokemon's boosting damage. That's just her straight raw damage, and it gets pretty crazy when you start putting in supports and everything else. You can go ahead and I'll show you some of the farming this can do. Let's see. We can do defense.
My venom is surging.
Oh, fantastic. Look at that. What the hell even party is this? Oh, it's probably my auto.
Oh, no, no! I'm not gonna...
I have Nifle and Rebecca just as my partners for that, and then I just AFK with Lisbel, and they basically kill the entire screen. Let's try it again.
I stand watch upon the shore of the river of life.
Hit.
So again, I'm not going to use any supports. I'm not going to boost my damage with any of them.
Hit.
Hit.
So usually you would have to come up here and do that, which is totally fine, like I said. If you have base, they're
Samsara's pulse.
good enough. Where if I spam that, no problem. And when you're killing things, you won't have any
The enemies have
sanity
stopped
issues.
attacking for now.
You'll have no sanity issues at all. On base, if you're doing things like this where you have no damage, you just kill stuff with one go.
Night comes to be.
And if you get good
Samsara's
shots,
pulse.
no problem. But against bosses where you're gonna have to spam that a lot is where it comes into problem. And then obviously using your ult,
Tis my guide.
everything gets sucked in and they'll die instantly because nothing will survive here.
Night comes to do. Samsara's pulse.
But let's say you wanted to do this faster and you have the I6 unlocked.
As every river returns to the misty sea.
Wow, so those
Research is so tiring. Here, please. Claim your reward. Now, do you want to continue or go back? Whoa! Tons of enemies suddenly rushed out. I can't delay my research, so I'll just leave them to you.
Yeah, like there is that 1 second delay between when your ranged weapon can proc it. So that's a little annoying, but it's pretty good. Yeah, that didn't proc it.
As every river returns to the misty sea.
Mainly what I do is I mix them both in. It's really nice to group everything up with her main abilities, and then you do this while you're regenning and you sanity, and you still have those 6 uses before your thing runs out.
Be still, Grace. Tis my guide and path.
But it depends if you know to actually use a weapon on her. If you use her base, you're never really going to use a weapon unless you wanted to proc some kind of effect. And then, but yeah, she literally just spams her ability.
Those drifting towards the misty sea shall find solace in her embrace.
And
I
so
shall
for
offer what humble aid I can.
if you do have her I6, this is the current build I'm using for damage. I did add this one. Instead, you could always put another Scorch on, go way well over 1,000 attack, even at level 60, which is pretty crazy, while still having some pretty good multipliers. But when I'm testing things, I felt like her ult, when you go into that steroid buff and you get that bonus damage from transforming your range into actual damage, it only your by default it's 12 seconds. When I put this on, it goes up to almost 15 seconds, so I get an extra like 3 seconds almost of window where I can get that extra boost, not having to spam that skill over and over again. It's kind of nice. It's like more quality of life, I guess. And mainly what I use it for is for the ranged weapon. You get that extra time to get off more shots, and then because if you do want to try to use your 6 E enhancements during your steroid buff, so usually what I'll do is if it's a boss fight, I'll pop my steroid, my super, do 4 or 5 E's, and then you'll hold the last one, and then you'll just use your ranged weapon to proc a bunch of the increased damage abilities on them, and then right before it runs out, use your last boosted damage E, and then you, by that time, all your sanity's back, and then you just do it again. So that's basically her damage rotation for bosses when you are I6. But this gives you a bigger window. When it was just the 12 seconds, with how slow her casting speed is, you can't really get a lot of ranged attacks off before your 6 is up. You have to basically just spam your 6 uses out, and that's about it. You can get a couple in here and there. What I want to do is add more duration on it. When you put this on, it goes from the 14 or the 15 to now 17, so that you have even more damage window there, and it increases your attack anyway. And then with this one, you're also converting any skill duration into attack as well. So it's pretty good. You get more damage if you just straight run scorches, but it's not much. It's pretty unnoticeable almost. So you might as well just run a little bit utility in her. Since we don't have to run any sanities, we can run extra durations and then stuff like that. But Serenity is pretty much a must on her if you want to not have to worry about sanity at all. Like I never have to look at my sanity bar basically. You can always have this on another character if you're using a support too. And then obviously Scorch for just the increased attack. I have 2 of them. Would like to replace this one eventually. I would probably replace it with Scorch if you're doing just random things. If you need the extra damage reduction, this one is fantastic, and for most activities, especially even at the end game, there's a ton of mobs to kill, and so you basically always have up this permanent, 90% I think, attack buff at all times. And so it's pretty close to Scorch anyway. 96, you're only missing 6% damage, and you get 12% damage reduction, so at the late game it's pretty good. So I'll probably be swapping out Blaze with that, and then my extra slot I will be putting in the attack and skill duration. Then this one, like I said, will convert the extra skill duration into attack anyway. This one gives you your Lumino attack, your skill damage, and your skill range, which she uses all 3 of them, so it's fantastic. There's not a single wasted stat on there. And then yeah, like I said, she converts skill range into damage, even with your base version, base kit, she does, so it's fantastic for that. You can do whatever the hell you want with your melee weapon. It does not matter. I don't have this thing built at all. So, and when you look at her weapon, it doesn't look like she has a weapon specifically for her. Like some other characters in the game definitely have a signature weapon that you can go and build. She doesn't seem like she has one yet. So I'm just using the skill range katana. You could do anything with skill range, skill damage, attack increase, totally fine. Do whatever. Again, for this, you just want to have a high trigger probability. The base flamethrower they give you is great. It's totally fine. I used that for a long time. But I kind of wanted something that had more range once I got to I6 to actually hit things far away. The flamethrower has a really low range. So this is great. I love this thing. I'm going to try to experiment with other weapons because there's so many different weapons that you could try. I think if you have like a base 30% trigger probability with all the increased trigger probability mods we have, you can get it pretty much at 100%. So a lot of these weapons you can get real close to 100% trigger probability without having a weapon that boosts it. So there's other weapons I wanted to try, stuff that has just straight attack damage increases, stuff that has increased attack speed, so then you can get even more of your abilities off. But I guess that has a diminishing return because you only have that 1 second time anyway. So for this, I could probably experiment more with taking off some attack speed. I think I'm kind of just wasting bullets at that point. And mainly what you want to work on is trigger probability and multi-shot to make sure it activates that. Like I said, it only has a 25% chance to proc, but if you're shooting 3-4 shots per trigger pull, you're going to activate it more often than not. So that is just straight full damage. For auto farming, I do give her a little bit of skill efficiency, a little bit of max sanity. I could play around with it more and see if I put more skill efficiency on it, if she is better. But for the things I'm farming, she does need a bit more damage. But these AI, they just basically spam the ult and the skills off a cooldown, basically. So having enough sanity and everything and efficiency to be able to regen that and spam it is nice. This is the current one I was talking about. If you're in the late game, when you start fighting these things that are stronger, hit harder, and you worry about actually dying, this is what I'm using this build for right now. And it has enough damage to just kill anything in the game that's farming wise, one shot, no problem. So, but for bosses and stuff, it's real nice to just go as much damage as I can and melt them, like you saw earlier, 30 seconds for the current bosses I can fight. For supports, you know, you can use the regular ones. She's great.
Wakey,
She buffs,
it's time
buffs
to
health, you know, gives you healing, and buffs your attack. So, sounds great, why not? Even though I absolutely hate this character, she's actually really good for buffing you if you wanted to get just more damage. I think she might be one of the best in the game at it. If you look here, she buffs skill damage up to 20 stacks. And you get 4% skill damage per stack. I think she might be the only character right now that's support that can boost your skill damage. And that's exactly what we need. Most characters need it, so she's great at that. She also gives a attack increase, which is fantastic. A lot of other characters, their boost as a support doesn't give you an increase. It gives you an elemental bonus, and so unless you're matching with that support character's element, it doesn't really do anything for you. And then again, she increases attack for us again. So even though I hate the character, she's really good for end game content where I need the extra damage boost. And then she has enough healing usually to be fine for now.
Emergency supplies are packed, ready to deploy at any time.
Her skills does buff Animo, which we're not, so we're gonna miss out on that. But she does do a lot of healing, and if you level her up enough, she will increase crit chance. But again, we don't really use it.
I shall offer what humble aid I can.
Anytime we crit from our weapon, it doesn't really do anything anyway. We're not building our weapon for damage. All of our damage is coming from just our procs, off our skills. So, but I love the character. She's great. She's been able to kill everything, no problem. I think she's the best character in the game. Her versatility, she can literally do anything. She does 2 different elements of damage. A character that does that. She's a ranged DPS. She's a single target DPS. She's an AoE DPS. She can be ranged or melee. Basically. She actually groups enemies up at the later game too, so that's really strong. Is she the single best unit for each thing? No. There's a lot of good units in the game.
I shall offer.
Elizabeth is
go.
fantastic. She's my other DPS right now. She's so strong too, and you get her for free. Rebecca also free unit and does a ton of damage as well. And she's probably the best for AoE right now, unless you're using Lynn for certain things. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, her burst damage is crazy with her charge. Berenica is crazy for single targets and for grouping content if you build into her E.
This is quite a delicate mission.
Can be very good for bosses. So there's a bunch Oh yeah, Psyche's great
I
too.
knew you'd bring me along.
But most of these characters have their niches. Like they're really good at certain things.
I shall offer what humble aid I
I think
can.
Lady Nifle is absolutely insane for anything. And the fact that she can have such a varied playstyle, use pretty much any ranged weapon you want, if you think it fits, why not? As long as your trigger probability is good enough, and you can get enough attacks off, it's great. At the end, I'll probably we'll show you some endgame things so you can see. Yeah, this stuff is like the hardest things right now. Like I can't get past this because in this game mode, fire or pyro and animo are boosted by 400%, which is crazy. So those characters do so much damage. Oh, here you go. Here's your elements. Yeah, 400% increased, and advantage elements is reduced. So we just have 50% reduced damage in these because I don't have a pyro or an animo character for DPS. We'll show Act 1 for the 7. Go ahead and I'll show you how the buffing is like. I do equip her with a ranged bow. This one might give you a little bit of attack or defense or skill damage or skill duration increase, which is all nice. Why not? Let's see. Should be good. For her, it's fine. We could do that, but I think she'll be okay. I don't think she needs a damage reduction yet.
Let's see what we can find.
So yeah, I'm doing 50%
I
less
stand
damage here,
watch upon the shore
and
of the
they're
river of
10 levels
life.
over me, so I'm already doing less damage.
Hit.
But there's a ton of enemies that spawn in this, and you can see how she does against actual strong enemies. See how she groups everything up.
Night turns to day. Samsara's pulse.
This is where you belong. Very
Like the merciful tears of Mother Earth. Yeah. Hit. As every river returns
time
to
to
the
incinerate
sea.
some waste.
Night turns to day.
The one thing I don't like about this range weapon is it does knock them away sometimes, so your ability procs doesn't actually hit
Very bad.
sometimes.
Samsara's pulse.
That's a pain in the ass. So that's why I wanted to experiment with other weapons. See if I can find a better one. This is locked so much projectile that it early procs on everything.
Where you
Night
belong.
turns to day. Samsara's pulse.
Slows.
Very bad.
Hit.
Yeah, do you see what I mean when, like, if I...
Be still, Dennis.
You're gonna have to spam
Tis
your
my
E a lot
guide.
in these game modes unless you can
Samsara's
kill
pulse.
everything with one of your 6 ghosts.
Yeah.
And so now you'll be all right.
Very bad.
Once you
This
use
is
some range weapons,
Like the merciful tears
you
of
can
Mother
continue
Earth.
doing damage. You have like no downtime.
Night turns to day.
what procs, and then my ability actually lands on them. So pushing them out the way is not going to do anything new, and it kind of sucks. So it might be nice to see something like this better.
Be still, tis my guide and guide. Samsara's pulse. I am calm.
This is where you belong.
Alright, here's the boss.
Like the merciful tears of the wind. Hit! Night turns to gloom. As every river returns to the misty sea. Samsara's pulse. Night turns to dawn. Be still,
Very bad.
'tis my guide and guide.
Where you belong.
Like the merciful tears of the wind.
And the explosions on the screen are kind of annoying. I mean, it blinds the hell out of you if you're too close to the enemy, as you can tell, but yeah, she's crazy. And like I said, you see how much I'm using my ranged weapon. It changes your whole playstyle of what you can do. I mean, you could just smash Q and then hit E over and over again and then run around for a bit, and if you have your sanity, do it again. Or run around and wait for it to come back and do it again, but I think this is really fun. I think it's great. You can see how much damage she did for this stage. 72.5 million. Let's see. And as you can tell here, see my ranged weapon only did 200,000. Everything else, the 72.3 million, is all from her skill. Almost all the damage is just straight from her skill. The ranged weapon does pretty much no damage. It's just to proc her skill. So yeah, I think she's great. And once we unlock, you know, being able to get her all the way to level 80, being able to, once I get gold mods, she seems like she scales really strong. Like her multipliers are all crazy. And from what I can see, both her weapons, they don't seem like they're made for her specifically. So if any other ranged weapons come out that can proc different things, she's gonna be even better. If they come out with a katana or some other melee weapon that'll be better for increasing range or skill damage, she's just gonna be stronger. Because right now, her weapons are kind of lackluster, and she still does all that damage. So, as well as obviously if any other better mods come out, she has a
I shall
couple
offer what humble aid I
that
can.
are definitely not made for her. Like this one I have to use right now for the extra skill damage, just because when I compare it to other things, this still does more damage, but it has HP as another stat, and so it's kind of just pretty pointless for her. Other characters, their version has attack or has something else with skill damage, or even if it was attack and skill range, like that'd be great. So you know, if better demon wedges come out, she's gonna get even stronger. So, and it's just such a different way to build her. Like, even though it doesn't recommend duration at I6, I think duration's great. You can be in that steroid phase for way longer. But yeah, hopefully other people figure out different builds too, and then I'll be excited to try those, or different weapons to use. But hopefully this helps you guys decide on is this character worth putting in the investment, because like I said, I'm a free-to-play player. I haven't spent any money on this stuff. I haven't spent any money. So yeah, not even on the battle pass.
I shall offer what humble
locked.
aid I can.
Nothing. Haven't spent anything, and still able to get an I6 character.
I shall offer what humble
still
aid
able to
I
get
can.
the weapons I wanted to try on her. I mean, I don't have copies of them. These are both just base. They don't have any smelted versions. So once you get up there, it'll be even crazier. But yeah, if you're a free-to-play player, you can easily get an i6 if that's what you want. I think like you'll get enough secret letters by like probably close to like 45 to get her. If you want to know how long that takes, it took me about 135 completions to get her. Yeah, 135 to unlock 7 of her to be able to get the i6 maxed out version of her. So I think that's pretty standard luck, actually. It's close to just 20 a run. So you get a little under, a little over, but that's about where you're going to be at. Some other characters I've gotten luckier on getting earlier. Psyche, super unlucky.
I shall offer what humble aid I can.
I knew you'd bring me along.
I have 28 out of 30 on her, and I've ran hers 27 completions now. So unlucky, way past 20 now at this point. But yeah, it's definitely pretty easily doable. If you really want to max the character, you can do it. But hopefully that solves some questions on, is she good, is she worth putting in the investment. I know it would be terrible to spend all that time farming 135, 140 times to then you get the i6 and it turns out you hate it, or it doesn't do anything that you thought it would do. But yeah, this is how her i6 works. I wish her steroid alt, her 8,000% enhanced Lumino version would proc on her range, but I guess that would be too OP because you can proc that infinite during those 17-second window or whatever you increase it to, rather than just being able to have 3 of those during each alt. So I guess, but that would be insane if that proc. But it's nice enough that it doesn't use your sanity, so that's great.